to Fit to Speak from the Archives. I'm Eugene Obah, glad as ever to be with you. Today, we conclude our exclusive interview with Terrence Woods Sr. about his missing son, Terrence Woods Jr., as he provides greater insight to his son and accounts as well as developments he says have occurred in the efforts to find him. When we left off on last week's show, I asked Terrence Sr. based on his view that Simon G., who was the producer on set for Raw TV the day Terrence disappeared, and created a negative narrative about his son, as to whether or not he believes that Simon covered up anything as it pertains to his son's case. It is Terrence Sr.'s claim that Simon said Terrence was a disappointment and did not meet his expectations. It should be noted that Raw TV denies that Simon made any comments of the sort. Now, before we get to Terrence Sr.'s response, I want to be as clear and as unequivocal as I can be on this program, as I mentioned last week on the program when I posed the question. And that is, there is no evidence, one way or another, as of the time of this recording, that Simon G., or anybody for that matter, is involved in a cover-up in this case. And there's no evidence, one way or another, that there is not a cover-up in this case. There's no evidence of an existence or non-existence of a cover-up in this case, and there is no evidence one way or another that there are suspects in this case, there's a suspect or suspects in this case, or that there aren't any suspect or suspects in this case. I want to be very, very clear that we are not here on this program to accuse anyone of wrongdoing. We're not here to accuse anybody of doing anything nefarious or anything of the sort. What we are here to do on this show and all the past shows that we have done is to find the truth. We have to find the truth of what has happened to Terrence Woods. Where is he? Is he out there? Is he still with us? We need to answer these questions, not just, for the public's sake, but really for the sake of the Woods family, who for 5 years, they have been really at a loss as to what has happened to Terrence. So that is the thing. We have to get to the truth in this. And the only way that we are going to get to the truth right here, and we will get to the truth, is with a proper independent investigation, one that Mehul Anjaria and Dion Mitchell of Crime Redefined, who we had on this program 2 weeks ago, will lead. And they are actively crowdfunding this independent investigation. And you can help us with that. You can be the difference maker in this case. I'll mention more as to how you can help at the end of the show. We do have information in the YouTube description below, so do check that out. But in the context of Terrence Sr.'s comments, it was important that we ask that question. And in answering that question, he did recall a Zoom conversation that he says he had with one of Terrence's friends.
When it comes to Simon G., if he had so much to say or knowledge, then he would have spoken to me. Not long ago, I spoke to a friend of my son's, said that Simon got in contact with and said he had information, etc. I asked her, forward my information. He said that he would give him my information. I never heard from this. Said placed his email, excuse me. Then I was on a show and explained to me that Simon have not worked since my son's disappearance, that he's doing bad financially, and he's willing to give information if he's given $100,000. Now, mind you, this is someone that my son was working with. Well, if he has this information, he not only should give it to me, he should give it to the police. If speaking to him, then whatever information he's speaking about, should give to me. We should not have a third-party person to have to get involved, because if he reached out for whatever reason, and for whatever reason don't want to speak directly to me, then that's supposed to be a friend of his. It's supposed to be my son's friend. And anything pertaining to my son missing, to make sure you give all the information and give it to me. Unfortunately, that have not happened. In the last conversation I had with explained that to get back in touch with Simon G because he's going through hard times now. I don't understand the hard times he's going through when it's my son that's missing. What times I'm going through? Good times?
Especially across these 5.5 years, 5 years and 5 months, close to 5.5 years, yeah.
So if he's having hard times for whatever reason, that has nothing to do with me or my son. But me missing my son, I believe, has something to do with him.
And, again, of course, this is, something that, again, we don't have information one way or another.
Right.
But, again, you would think that anybody, no matter who it is, that has information about your son's disappearance
would willingly give the information up. Because they were supposed to be co-workers. So even if Simon was not the perpetrator of something happening to my son and seen what happened to my son, man, email me, text me, send smoke signals. But no one should say I have to pay anyone for any information that a legend was working with my son. Really? Why do I have to pay for information for you to give me and my son was allegedly working with you if you had nothing to do with it? Now, mind you, Simon didn't ask for any money directly to me. That's hearsay from another person.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely put that out there. I don't know if that's true or false. I don't know where that money could have been getting ready to go. But his name was used. But he have not gotten in touch with me or anyone in my family. But he has so much negative to say about my son from day one. Go figure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is certainly something that we will certainly follow up on and keep our eyes, on this as to the veracity of even the claims. We did just that. In fact, we reached out to this individual whose name and references to their gender we bleeped out, as you probably noticed. More on that in just a minute, but we did actually invite this individual to appear on this program to respond to the veracity of the claims about the nature of the conversation and the details that you've just heard Terrence Sr. recount. This individual did send us a response to Terrence Sr.'s claims, but did not want us to use that response, citing in part safety concerns, which is why we have elected at CSE Media to say this individual and to blur the content of said emails. We've also attempted to reach out to Simon G for comment, but we have not been able to independently confirm the authenticity of certain social media accounts that bear his name. Now, we could have very easily have ran Terrence Sr.'s comments without affording this individual, or anybody for that matter, a chance to respond. That would be very, very easy. That would be unethical. The name of this program, in case you haven't noticed or you're just figuring out, is called Fit to Speak. Well, Fit to Speak from the archives, I think it's there somewhere. Over yonder somewhere. And just to give Fit to Speak 101, unlike some outlets, we allow our guests to express themselves the way they see fit. We let them speak. We do not censor guests, tell guests what to say or what not to say, even if I disagree with them, and that will not start now. Now, and this is a big if, Terrence Sr. has been lying to me on this program all this time. And for the record, I do not believe that he's lying about anything that he has said on any of our shows. But let's just suppose that Terrence Sr. is lying. Then this would be the opportunity for anyone, I don't care who it is, this would be the opportunity for anyone, provided that they do have the evidence to back it up, to say that this man is lying. Again, I do not believe that he is, but this would be the opportunity to do so. I sure as hell will not tell a grown man, the father of a missing son, how he ought to express his experience across the last 5+ years. Here in the United States, there is such a thing as the First Amendment. And at least for now, as long as the Supreme Court does not interfere, there is still such a thing as a free press in this country. And it is with that that we are fortunate here to broadcast Terrence Sr.'s words, his accounts, his recollections, his experiences, what he has been dealing with throughout the last 5 years that his son has been missing, over 5 years that Terrence has been missing. And I'll tell you this, the fact that we are able to do so here, I'll tell you, the permission slip to do so, to broadcast anybody's stuff for that matter, is the United States Constitution. And I sure as hell will disabuse anyone or any place of the notion that they will control what our guests say or not say, or try in any way to manipulate the content that we cover on this program. We want people to come on this program and express themselves of their own free will. That's what we have done throughout this show and the regular edition of Fit to Speak, and that's what we will continue to do. Now, we do not force anybody to come on this program. That is their prerogative, though my invitation, of course, still stands. Folks, as we go back to the rest of our interview with Terrence Sr., just remember that one way or another, the truth is going to come out in this case, and we are going to fearlessly and relentlessly pursue it. And I know that we have an entire army of our audience. Many of you watching this program are going to join us in terms of finding the truth about what has happened here in this case. The closure that Terrence's family needs is something that is of paramount importance. And at the end of the day, that should be always, always, always the key focus. But we will pursue this relentlessly, fearlessly. It doesn't matter where we have to go to pursue this. We will pursue the truth, and we will do it together. And I am just, again, really, really passionate about making sure that we find the answers and the closure that is needed for the Woods family. After all, just to use quotes from George Orwell, well, at least a quote that is attributed to George Orwell, journalism is printing what someone else doesn't want printed. Everything else is public relations. In the immediate aftermath of finding out that your son has disappeared, you had hired private investigators.
Yes.
You had hired private investigators.
Yes.
But that did not go very well,
Not
right?
at all. Not at all.
Why was that?
I was naive because I just wanted my son back. I did give him my bank account information and told him, he was able to take out X amount of dollars. Once he told me he was doing something, he would send me an invoice. This is for this. He would take it out. I get an invoice, $300 for making a phone call to London to speak with somebody that I gave him the number to. Wow, heck of a phone call. $600 for some pictures. Wow, I didn't get the pictures yet. So I'm getting invoices, but I don't have anything. I'm gonna send this to you. I'm gonna put it on, I'm gonna email it to you, and then you gotta go with a code, but first you gotta send me this amount. Now I gotta send more money to get the code to open up to get the pictures. Then when I opened them up, the pictures were locked on me. I couldn't get to them. So it was not a good experience. Then the second private investigator, which reached out to me and found me, but he had so much information. He was a private investigator who was working with the sheriff's department.
The Idaho County Sheriff's Office.
Yes. So then I kind of just shut down, man. I just shut down.
Do you think that there was any collusion? Any collusion
with the last person?
With the last person. You think so?
I think he was trying to get information from me to give to them. He was trying to pick me to see what I knew. which I didn't know anything because I was trying to find out what happened. That's like the last time I spoke with. I thought that I was getting ready to get on a Zoom conversation with because asked for the meeting. So I thought he had information to give me. Unfortunately, everything that was going on would ask a question. Who's the lawyer you have? Who you have? I thought you had information for me. Look down at a piece of paper, write something down, ask me a question. Everything was asking me questions opposed to telling me this is what's going on in London. And then that's when, finally came out and was telling me about Simon G having financial hardship since my son disappeared. And when we spoke about the GoFundMe account, that's when he definitely opened up and said, well, if he's given this amount of money, then he's willing to give you information.
And this is the GoFundMe account, that we're, of course, referring to is the one that Mehul Anjaria and Dion Mitchell of Crime Redefined have set up on the back of what our team at Common Sense Entertainment aired back in October.
That's the only GoFundMe account that's pertaining to my son right now. Because there was one that I started, all of a sudden I couldn't get into it, and it had a figure. I don't know where that money went. There was a second one that I could not get into. I don't know where that money went to. As there is a Facebook page for my son, a Instagram page of my son, whomever have that, I can't get into that, but it's about my son. So certain things, whomever is using my son to benefit from, it's not me. It's not me.
How does that make you feel?
It hurts because the person that I feel is doing it, I thought was a friend of my son's. And in the beginning, I thought that person was really there for me. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know if someone got to them. I don't know. But it hurts. Distrust is terrible. Especially in a case like this. If you don't want to help me, then you don't have to help me. But don't try to hurt me. And you say that's your friend. I don't wish that on anyone. And that's like I tell people, anyone that ever had a missing family member, child, relative, my heart go out to them. My heart go out. If your child is coming home from school and someone jump out of a car and grab your kid, wow, that's terrible. If your loved one go on vacation and never come back and you don't know what happened, that hurts. My son was in front of 11 people, in front of them, and disappeared without a trace. That's no.
I want to talk about now the new investigation, the independent investigation that Mehul Anjaria and Dion Mitchell, the hosts of Crime Redefined, have set up.
Yes.
They set that up after the special report that my team at Common Sense produced. And, you were on their podcast in 2021.
Yes.
And they will lead the charge as to this independent investigation. What is it about this particular investigation that Mehul and Dion are doing that, you're behind these, you're 100% behind these efforts, yeah?
Well, originally when I met Mehul and Dion, I was skeptical. And I explained that to them because of what had took place with me originally,
With the private investigators initially.
Initially with the private, so it was, and then they said they wanted to set up a GoFundMe. And when they started, I was nervous once again, and I didn't want to come out of pocket again because I was trying to still regroup from what took place. Nevertheless, when they finally got back in touch with me, I spoke with them as well as yourself, Eugene. And the conversation was totally different. It just, it was a conversation that like just hugged me. It like had me. Uh, it was time. The wording was right. The timing was right. And when we did the Zoom, and I saw the Zoom with the three of you, the questions that you all asked one another was amazing. The statements that were said were the truth. And I said, wow, if they go forth the way they're going now, oh, we're going somewhere. So here we are now, moving on. And I hope we don't run into a brick wall, because I dropped my guards once again for the help, as I've done multiple times already, and was disappointed, from some big names. I was disappointed. It took off running and we ran into a brick wall. Why? I don't know why. But it happened. And we're still at square one. And I'm here now with you, starting all over. But it's still 5 years later on starting over from day one. Really? So that's where we're at. And I don't wish this on anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what you've dealt with over the close to 5.5 years since your son disappeared, I mean, as we mentioned earlier on, this certainly has to take a toll.
It's a total void within me, but I can't quit. When I'm by myself, it's on me. But I still have to shine for him. And I still have to shine for my youngest son. I can't quit. Do it hurt? It's a gunshot. It knocks the wind out of you. What you gonna do? You have to go on. For him, for myself, and for my youngest son. And for my loved ones that miss him, and his friends that truly miss him. Because if I don't do anything, everyone else will sit on the sideline. Well, his dad don't care. His mom don't care, so, man, they might not care. And that's not gonna happen. Not from me. Anyone that cared for my son, anyone that missed my son, anyone that loved my son, anyone that knows my son, man, get on the bandwagon, get on the train. Please help me.
Yeah, tell our audience why they should support this independent investigation that Mahul and Dion are going to be leading. Tell our audience why they should support.
It's going to cost. If you look at the news and look at other fundraisers, for whatever they are for, they go up. My son's fundraiser, for some reason, is not moving. But it's going to cost not only me, so I need everyone's help. I needed everyone's help. Financially, prayers. Financially, prayers. Financially, prayers. None of this money is going in my pocket. It's not even coming to me. I have nothing to do with it. It's not for me at all. It's to find out the truth and to bring home my son and or all the answers and get justice for him. If you know my son, he didn't want any trouble. And I miss him daily. I have to go on. I have to find a show. I have to find someone that can help. My son wasn't a rapper. My son wasn't a basketball player. He was not an athlete. He was a journalist and a producer. And for those, especially those of color that's in the business, I ask for help.
It's important, isn't it? It's important, then again, we do everything that we can. You know, we, in terms of us putting out this story, but in terms of the public getting behind these efforts. Because I think it's probably fair to say, Mr. Woods, that this is probably our best chance for us to find your son, find out what has happened. Are you also looking for closure in this?
I'm looking for closure, but I'm looking for the truth.
Because, let's just say, and look, obviously you, me, and the public watching this program hopes that your son is still alive. We really hope so. But what if the unthinkable has happened? That we find out through this investigation, through this, that your son is no longer with us. How would that, I guess, make you feel?
It will hurt. But at that time, I would want justice for anyone that had anything to do with anything that happened to him. I want justice for that. I'm not foolish. I'm not a wisher. I believe in God. And I have in my head what's the possibilities, whatever come at the end of the day with the truth. That's what I will deal with. How I will deal with it, I'm sure it's going to be very painful, but I will deal with it. But at least at the end of the day, I can close my eyes and know whatever took place. Right now, I close my eyes. I can hear my son yelling. I can hear my son crying. I can see my son. It's not a good picture. I don't wish it on nobody. There are shows I used to watch I will not watch. There's certain things I won't watch on TV. I don't want to see. I don't want to hear. I can go to the supermarket, certain things. My son used to love these little chocolate cakes. Dad, give me that. I see him. Think about the guy. Certain song come on the radio. Think about the guy. So I don't wish that on anyone. Like I said, you have two things. You have closure and healing. I have neither. I have neither. I don't know anything. I don't know if my son is somewhere right now being tortured, in pain, if he's still with us or not. I don't know. So I have nothing. So every day, I just got to get the strength to get through that day. And that's going to bring me one day closer to finding the truth out. Every day I wake up, that's a day closer to finding the truth out. So if I don't wake up tomorrow and get the truth, then I failed my son. So I got to be here. So every day I got to find a different avenue, a different way to find out. I got to find out what. Sometimes I get on Facebook, people I don't know from anywhere, and I just send certain things pertaining to my son and say, please share. Instagram, please share. I don't do Twitter and all that other stuff. It's a little too much, but not knocking anyone. But I don't
Actually, and all that sort of thing.
The first I go is Facebook and Instagram. And like I said, I'll just put my son's stuff out there. Please share, please share, please share, please share. Because a lot of things you see on these Facebook and Instagram, people follow these people and the stuff they're showing them, like, wow, man, show this. Some of that stuff to me is not meaningful to me. My son means the world to me. And I just need someone's help. And people of power, people that mean something, not just anyone. Like I said, he's not a rapper. He's not an athlete. But if he was a rapper or athlete, he could put up anything and everybody follow that, if it's negative or positive. Let's follow a young black man who wanted to do something and wanted to live life. That's my son.
We've talked a lot in this interview here today about your son as a person, because a lot of the narrative that has been,
Created.
created, put out there, as the case may be, has not always been positive.
Not at all.
I want you, in the remaining time that we've got here, and again, I thank you very kindly for having us here in your home to do this. And this is where, your son also has been as well. And I hope will be, once we find him, and we will do everything that we can.
We're going to find the truth out.
Oh, absolutely.
Be it may.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to hold people, I can tell you, now, we're going to hold people accountable, for their actions or even inaction, as the case may be. But I really want you to tell us, Mr. Woods, to kind of sum this up, really. Please put out for our audience your son as a person. You know him better than anybody.
T he's a happy-go-lucky person. He wanted to travel the world. He wanted to have a good time. As far as meeting people, enjoying life. He wanted to write. He wanted to produce. Taking pictures, being a journalist, that was always his thing. When he was in kindergarten, he ran to be the president of his elementary school. Of course he won. And he moved on with that in life throughout school, elementary school, college. That was him. He didn't want no harm. Even at home, he'd sit in his room, he'd be on his computer, him and his brother, they're in each other's room, playing with one another, with the games. T would be on his computer, Joseph would be on the game. On Tuesday, he would come sit in my room with me, and we would watch movies. I'll fall asleep, he's sitting in the chair in my room, covered up in the cover, knocked out. I'm the type of person that I keep things kind of straight in my house. And I will make my bed, and this dude will come and jump on my bed right after I made it. It would be funny, but I would be upset. I'm like, T, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he would laugh at me. What can I do? Man, he would move stuff. I keep stuff a certain way. It could have been his brother sometime too, but they would move. And I'm like, I know I left this way. And he was like, Dad. And I'd be like, what, man? Or you walk up the steps and I see a piece of lint or something. I see one of my sons walk up the step. I'm like, if I saw it, I know you're seeing it. And they look, Dad, come on. I just, man, but the guy,
a bit of a jokester, as well.
Man, oh my goodness, yeah. I remember one Christmas I was in my room, and he put on Santa Claus hat and a beard, and him and his friend, they came in there smiling at the door, and I'm laying in there. Yeah.
Even remembering this stuff, recalling all of this, again, just take us through what's going through your head right now, even.
I miss him. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm not saying it because he's my son, but he's a cool dude. Both of my sons.
Yes.
But then night and day, T is a go-getter, family orientated. He likes to be out. My youngest son, he's laid back, cool. He's a reserved type of guy, and yeah. They both have their own ways, but both of them are amazing. I wouldn't trade them in for nothing in the world. Nah.
Absolutely. Well, oh my goodness, Mr. Woods. I mean, again, we just hope that somebody, the public out here who are watching this program today, will come forward. Somebody's going to come forward with the truth as to what has happened.
I need it. I need the truth.
Yeah.
They say there's something the truth hurt. No, I need the truth. Good, bad, ugly. I need the truth. That will make my life better, no matter what it is. If I can handle this, I can handle anything. So I just need the truth. Can't shatter my life no more than it's already shattered my life. Can't be hurt no more than I already hurt. No matter what someone tell me, can't hurt me no more than I've been hurting for 5 years. If anything, it may help me.
How do you think it will help?
Because at least I would know the truth, and then I can move on and start getting stronger. My heart could start rebuilding. The place where my son would never go away, but at least I say, hey, I won't close my eyes and assume he's somewhere in a closet, somewhere being beaten, somewhere being tortured. I say, hey. Yeah. I wrote a letter to my son 3 years ago, and it came up on Facebook on 3 years ago. To my son, Terrence, wherever you may be, I will never stop looking for you, thinking about you, missing you, but most of all, loving you. You will be back with your family. That's it right there.
That's it.
And this is the way it came up on my feed. With him right
Yeah. There. Wow. And that's a good picture right there of your son. Wow. Folks, together, we will bring Terrence Woods back to his family. We can and we will. Together, you, me, all of us that are watching this program can make a difference. You all can make a difference in the lives of the Woods family. I have to say, quite candidly, it's one thing to conduct interviews on Zoom, as we have done on this program, but it's quite another to be at somebody's home and feeling that emotion, feeling the impact of the words that Terrence Sr. has said about what he has dealt with throughout the last 5 years, 5+ years that his son has been missing. I am not a parent, but I could only imagine the kind of stuff, the kind of emotional, the gravity of what he is feeling. And to be reminded day in and day out about his son. You saw, everything that was, in his home right there. We've showed some of the B-roll and things. We still hope very much that he's alive. But to see how he lived, on the personal front, it really is something. It was something to behold. And it really drives home, I think, for me, and I hope it has driven home for all of you watching, that it is so important. It is so important that we help this family. It is just so important that we do. And the one way that we can do this, and I say we, because it's not just me hosting this program, it's not just the team at Common Sense Entertainment, it is we. It is we that can really make an impact here. And the way that we can do it is a proper, independent investigation as to Terrence's disappearance. And I have to say, the Crime Redefined folks, Mayhul and Jaria and Dion Mitchell, they are the ones who I trust to lead this investigation. These are the people who we wanted to have on our program, and these are the people that will lead the charge in making sure that we bring the answers that are just so justly deserved. I trust them to do what nobody else has done up to this point, and that is to really do this proper investigation, including the forensics of the laptop and the camera Now, those two things are very, very important because the Idaho County Sheriff's Office, they did not do any of those forensic work. Those things can really unlock so many answers potentially as far as what may have happened to Terrence and give us some clues as to where he is or what happened, whatever the case may be. Those forensics have not been done. There have also been a lot of interviews, subpoenas, things of that nature that still have to be done here. But we really need your help. I cannot stress enough how important the help we need in terms of really making sure that we solve this case. So please, for any of you who have any resources, any stuff to provide in terms of this independent investigation so that we really hit the ground running on this, please go to gofundme.com/investigating the disappearance of Terrence Woods. We've got a link in the description below. I know it's a mouthful, but we've got that link right there. Investigating the disappearance of Terrence Woods. Every little bit helps, and some of the work that I've just enumerated can be done even without hitting the $40,000 goal. And if you are unable to donate, even if you're unable to donate, sharing with your social platforms, sharing this with your friends, your family, significant others, everybody, sharing this stuff can make a difference. It can really make a difference in this case. Again, the GoFundMe is in the description below, and that GoFundMe has the video of Terrence Sr. This is the only GoFundMe account that has Terrence Sr.'s video, the testimonial that Nahal and Dion recorded with Terrence Sr. So that's how you know this stuff is legitimate. You know that I do not sign on anything that is not legitimate. So please make sure that you latch on to this. GoFundMe.com/investigating the disappearance of Terrence Woods. So make sure you do that. And if you have further information that will help the investigation at all, or if you have any questions as to what this investigation will entail and things of that nature, please go to crimeredefined.com/contacts. That's crimeredefined.com/contacts. Nahal and Dion, they will respond to you directly. You have any tips, you have any information, make sure that you go to that website, use the form, send out your information, and let's make sure that we have all the tools that we need to solve this case. And of course, you can also reach out to us on our social media accounts. You'll see those at the end of our show. And again, I want to make very, very clear here because I don't want there to be any confusion as to where I stand on this. Okay. We are not here to accuse anyone of any wrongdoing. We are not here to accuse anybody of any nefarious activity or anything of that nature as it pertains to this case. As I mentioned at the top of the show, there's no evidence one way or another that suspects do or don't exist, and there is no evidence that there may or may not be a cover-up in this. And I want to make that very, very clear. We're not here to single people out or anything of that nature. What we are doing is trying to pursue the truth. We are going to pursue it, and we're going to be aggressive about pursuing it. Okay? We are not playing around. This has been over 5 years that this has been happening, this case. We cannot afford to get this to a 6th. And every day that this case is not solved, every day that we do not have the opportunity to solve this case is a day that this case grows colder and colder and colder. So again, I want to be clear. We are only interested in finding Terrence Woods. We want to bring this man home. He's been away for over 5 years. It is time to provide the Woods family the answers that they so justly deserve. So I know that everybody hopes. I hope our team at Common Sense, everybody hopes that Terrence is still alive. All right. I know that Raw TV has said as much in the statement that they have provided to us, as well as other media outlets, as far as hoping that Terrence is found. But do make no mistake about this, folks. If through the investigative means or anything that we find that suggests in any way that anything nefarious has happened to Terrence Woods at the hands of the production or any individual or individuals that have certain information and things, if we find through this investigation that any nefarious stuff has occurred and that any crime has been committed against Terrence, whether it's at the hands of the production or anybody, I don't care who it is or where it is, etc., then all I will say is, or actually what I will have people do, is I want you to listen to something that the Reverend Jeremiah Wright said many years ago.
The stuff we have done overseas is now brought right back into our own front yards. America's chickens are coming home to roost.
Well, instead of America's chickens, it will be the chickens of those directly or indirectly involved with anything nefarious happening in the Woods case, in this case of finding Terrence Woods. Now, again, we hope that nothing nefarious has happened here. We hope not. But in case something did happen, let's just say for argument's sake, something did happen, sadly, to Terrence, then let me just again repeat what Terrence Sr. has said on this program, and that is justice will come their way. Again, justice will come their way. Those who have ears, let them hear. A massive thanks to Terrence Woods Sr. for joining us on the program these past 2 weeks, and thanks to all of you for watching. In the meantime, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media accounts, including our Substack page for the exclusive monthly Common Sense newsletter and to support all of the work that we do here. Finally, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell on our YouTube channel so that you do not miss any of our episodes. Until next time, I'm Eugene Obah. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, the best things in life are worth saving.